Hello and welcome to week 4 in research methods, and exciting stuff happening here. The discussions are going great, quizzes are going great, but Houston, we still have a problem. We still have some MIA here. So, not to burden everybody in the class with the notion of missing work, I will be reaching out to each of you who are a bit behind the 8 ball right now. So help you get that caught up on. This week, there are no special assignments, though I kind of sneak one in there with the quiz. But this week, there's no specific special assignments related to your research project. So it's kind of a time to catch up, get those documents into me, get revisions of the documents you have submitted. I'll be contacting all of you. I will also be finishing up that grading so that you can continue with those revisions through the weekend, and we can maybe all be caught up next week. So this week we're looking at summarizing and interpreting data, basically a little bit from our statistics class. So in the statistics class, we learned that based on the type of data and the type of relationship that we're looking, whether it's a correlation or whether we're looking at a true experiment, looking at a relationship, cause-effect relationship, we use, and sampling, that's there, whether we're using groups or, test, retest, or whether we're going to compare two different groups. All of that, there was that whole chart. I've included that chart in the course book, decision-making chart. What I'm asking you to do in your discussion is to look at your own study, look at the study that you are imitating, look at your study, go through that chart and figure out what is the most likely statistical test that you're going to have to use based on the data that you're gathering. Now, this component of selecting your test was actually supposed to be a part of the original assignment back in statistics. The whole point of the statistics class is to be able to look at a study and, based on the design of that study, determine what is the statistic you're going to have to use. Not just really how to use the statistic, we learned that as well, how to actually calculate a t-score, but to be able to identify what's the most appropriate test. And that's really the skill set that is happening between statistics and this particular point in the class, when you're defining what it is, the statistic that you're going to use, and why. So explain it. Well, I'm doing a correlation, I'm doing blah, blah, I'm doing, I have no standardized score, so I'm doing two groups, and whatever it is, and you're going through that decision tree, determining what statistic test you're going to use. So that's in a discussion format. My hope is that if you're a little lost, I would like to see you post that question to the discussion board and help each other navigate that particular decision tree. So I'm looking for some processing there. There should be a pretty rich discussion to put out there. This is a very helpful time. If this was a face-to-face class, this gets replicated in the classroom. We all sit around and we talk about what we're doing, and we explain, and people can help explain to each other which test is going to be the most appropriate based on their study, with some key questions being thrown out, those decision-making questions that are on that chart. So let's see if we can replicate that online with the discussion board. The quiz is very related to that. I'm asking you to do a deep dive into the study that you're replicating and report out how they present data. What is the summary data? What is the data that they use? What test do they use? That might be a really good clue as to the test you're going to use. And deep dive into that article, answering a number of questions that are right there. Those questions are in the course book. Like I said, this is a time I'm going to be reaching out over the next day or so to people who are missing work or need to, giving everybody an update as to where you are. I'm going to finish grading the assignments that are currently submitted, and then I'm going to send everyone an email as to what your to-do list is during this little break before next week when we return to the sequence of special assignments related to your research project again. So, interesting topic. It should be somewhat of a review from the statistics class for those of you who were in there and can remember that. And then, so the discussion is identifying the one you're going to use. I would suggest doing the quiz first. And then because the quiz makes you go into your research, your original study, and muck around in there, and that really should inform you, based on what you're going to do in terms of your design, what statistic you think. If you're going to do two groups, you're going to do a correlation, you can go through that process. You can look at what they did, and to a degree, you'll be imitating them. In fact, you might be exactly imitating them, and this might be a very easy place to go. Although they may... Sometimes you're looking at correlation studies, and they might be doing some esoteric statistical tests that you don't recognize. Sometimes that happens, because of the type of data that they're using, they had to use a particular kind of test, a little bit beyond the scope of this particular class. But if it is something like that, that's when you throw it out to the class. And we use that chart, which is really defining the scope of statistical tests that we're going to be using in this sequence of classes. It's the beginning of your exploration of the use of statistics to answer questions. So I won't go on anymore. You know what to do. Expect to hear from me regardless. If you're right on top of things, you're still going to hear from me with a to-do list to bring everything right up to date. And you can use that to check off what you need to do. All right. So have a great week. Get out, enjoy it a little bit. I will be away this weekend, not on gigs. I might take a little vacation down in Old Orchard, just a couple days. And I'm not sure how available I'll be, but I'm here all week. If you have any questions, make sure that you get in touch with me. Have a great week. Get outside. It's really beautiful. And I will see you in the discussion boards.